Facebook is escaping reality. CEO Mark Zuckerberg announcing today the company's new corporate name will be Meta. The social media giant will begin trading under the ticker MVRS, like metaverse. In December, the name change comes amid recent criticism of the company's apps. The stock got a 3% bump on the news, but did pull back into the close, finishing the day virtually flat. Karen, does this make any difference at all to you?
Would a rose not smell as sweet by any other name? I think, half sarcastically. And Meta World Peace was taken by Ron Artest, so they couldn't do that.
Nice.
But I think the thing that's important is that we're going to see what they're spending there, and we're going to see the rest of the business, right? They talked about the capital spend. That was, to me, the most important thing of the call. $10 billion, I think, and then more after that. And so they're making a giant bet here. And again, I think of Mark Zuckerberg as actually a good steward of capital. So I hate when they change the name and ticker. I still call Google, but I think that clarity, when we saw Alphabet do that, divide into and get more clarity into the underlying business and the sort of more the rest of the businesses, that was helpful. And I think that will be helpful for them as well.
At least the ticker on Google, on Alphabet, I'm even still doing this. How many years later on Alphabet didn't change too drastically, but here we are. We're going to be typing MVRS into our computers, Dan, for this. But to you, does it make a difference?
Not really. And, Karen made a good point about steward of capital. And obviously, Mark Zuckerberg is the founder of this company, and he calls all the shots here. And, you could argue whether he's done a good job or not, kind of dealing with some of the problems the company's had over the last 5 years and really dealing with the growing pains of having an audience the size they have. You could also make the argument, though, that they actually haven't been particularly innovative. They've ridden a secular shift as far as online ads and that just the proliferation of mobile and social. They were unable to make a phone. A lot of their hardware things haven't gone particularly well. Oculus was all about this, you know what I mean? I'm just not sure that in this world of, this going to be decentralized sort of metaverse, the way that he wants to kind of be the overlord of it, I don't think he's going to be. So to me, I think they run the risk of really alienating a lot of their existing customers on that old blue website that they had, and maybe even the Instagram. Maybe a lot of these customers or their consumers don't want this. This is not their vision of the online world going forward. So to me, I think there's risk there.
I think that's a good point. I mean, some of their most popular, their fastest growing apps at this point, which obviously do not include Facebook, were acquisitions. And here we have Mark Zuckerberg wanting to spend money on the metaverse himself. Tim, do you have confidence that they can do it at this point?
Look, I wouldn't bet against them. I do think there will be other leaders, and I do think the metaverse as we know it today is going to be very different tomorrow, and doesn't necessarily have to have Facebook at the front of the line. I agree. I do think a lot of people that are Facebook loyalists and where the advertisers are paying a lot of money to target those folks could care less about the metaverse. In fact, I think that could be a lot of their platform. Maybe Instagram is different, but I think it's interesting. I think on the ticker side, if you look at the biggest mega cap tech companies in the world, they all have 4-letter tickers. Facebook was standing alone with what most people would think would be kind of a cool, 2-letter ticker. And I think, this is actually kind of interesting because I think if you want to analyze these things on some level, it didn't belong with the other group by having a 2-letter ticker. I do think this gamesmanship on names is something we've talked about. We've seen this in other industries. I think Google's reasons were very different, and you can't tell me that they're playing offense here. I think there's a lot of playing defense here on Facebook. There are social issues that they are running from, and I still believe that's a big part of this.